I would be very surprised if our fundamental interests changed drastically from what I set out just now. Because we will always be, the fundamental interests start out from the unchanging facts. The unchanging facts that we are small, that we are in Southeast Asia, that we are multiracial, that we depend on an international order for our existence and survival. Therefore, you want peace in the world, therefore you need friends, therefore you must have a stable Southeast Asia, therefore you must depend on international rule of law, and to be able in extremis to take care of yourself. And I don't think those will change. How you make friends, whom you can make friends with, that will depend on the world situation. If our friends are friends with one another, that makes it easier for us. If we have friend A and friend B, and A doesn't like B or B doesn't like A, then it's not so easy for us to be friends with A and B at the same time. If the US and China get on well, that makes life much easier for us. If the US and China have tensions, we have a problem. Or we have a much more bumpy ride. So how our fundamental interests are expressed in practical foreign policy, that will depend on the situation, and the situation can be very different from what it has been in the last 50 years, where we have been lucky, notwithstanding the Vietnam War, notwithstanding confrontasi. Generally speaking, Southeast Asia has been at peace. And in fact, Asia as a whole has not had the major upheavals which you will see in the Middle East, or the difficulties which you have had, even turbulent situations, civil wars in Africa, or drastic changes in government in Latin America, if you look back 20, 30 years. And will it be like that for the next 50 years? We hope it will still be peaceful, but nobody can be sure. As for foreign and domestic, how the domestic issues, how the domestic politics can influence foreign policies, I think that will depend firstly on how our domestic politics plays out, and that we have to try and keep stable for as long as we can, even though stable does not mean static, and I'm sure there will be change. But secondly, I think it also depends on how the non-government aspects of our relations engage other countries. Because when you're talking about foreign policies, it's not just the diplomats talking to diplomats. You also have businessmen engaged, you also have students engaged, you have the performers, the artists, the cultural groups engaged, and they have influence, soft power or hard. And they can influence our relations, they can influence us domestically in order to influence our stance externally. And that's something which we have to be always concerned with. We have to set our own direction, we have to be open, and yet when we engage others, we must always know we are making friends, but here's where we invite the friend into the sitting room, and the rest of Singapore, those are our private living areas. I mean, it's only for our family. And that's a line which we will have to learn to draw increasingly as our relations with our neighbors and with the big countries in the region intensify.